with that, we'll cue the music.
Hey guys,
Welcome to the Hype Attack Podcast.
where we weigh in on the latest in nerd and pop culture hype.
We are the
We're the excited conversation we all have with our friends.
About the nerdy things we love.
and geek about.
We are
the Hype. I am the Hype!
If you see a turtle's toothless grin, it's because his penis can probably touch his chin.
Yeah.
I like knew it was coming, and I still like, what the fuck?
Because I don't know if Isaac's seen the video yet.
Oh, we'll show it to him after.
Yeah, we got to show it to him.
The
after.
scientifically accurate Ninja Turtles.
No shells can bleed.
Oh, man.
Hi, everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Hype Attack.
This is good. This is good.
That shit still got me. But anyways, welcome back. Welcome back. On today's episode, we will be talking about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mayhem movie and a little bit of turtle history. We're going to dive into the Green Machines, the Four Brothers. Oh, man. There was another word that I had for these guys, but it escaped me just now. But anyways, yeah,
Awesome
we're going to...
amphibians.
Yes.
They're not even amphibians.
No,
They're turtles.
no,
Is it a turtle and amphibian?
No, it's a reptile.
Oh, is it? Now I'm going to have to rewatch the original Turtles cartoons. I'm sure Shredder had some amphibian asshole jokes in there. Like he always did that alliteration thing. So where do we come down on Turtles?
I like turtles.
I like turtles.
Oh, very good.
I like
Very good.
turtles.
But yes, but once again, before we do dive into all this Green Mayhem, it's me, your boy Jermaine, on the ones and twos, and then we have Doug here, Isaac, and Rudy.
what is up?
How's it going?
And as always, how did you guys nerd out this past week?
I think I brought it up earlier, so I won't talk about it too much, but I did finish A Plague Tale Requiem. This is the second game in that series. Solid game. What a game. Ending was depressing as shit, though, which I don't know. I mean, I guess that kind of spoils things, maybe. I don't know. There's like one possible depressing thing. And yeah, I finished that game and just like stared at my TV for a little bit. And it was just like, wow, what a way to end that shit.
Yeah, this isn't the first depressing game that you played.
Yeah, I apparently have a thing for depressing games. The other thing that I'm very excited to announce is I signed up for my very first Blood Bowl tournament, which I've never done any sort of official thing. Blood Bowl is a Warhammer. In the world of Warhammer Fantasy, they made a football game that's, like picture undead teams and orc teams and goblins and lizardmen and like all those different teams. And it's a Blood Bowl game, or it's a football game where you go for the ball and you can kill and murder each other. So I signed up for a tournament. It's not.
Good luck.
It's not until October.
May you live forever.
I know.
Wait,
I'm
this
not.
is you need to be physical in this?
No. Sorry, it's a board game.
It's a board game.
Oh,
Yeah, rolling
Okay.
dice. That's.
I was
mean,
worrying about you.
Yeah. No, oof. But no, I'm excited for it. It's not till October, so there will be multiple updates of how this is going. I still have to decide which team, because I own a few teams and I might buy another team. So I don't know which team I'm going to bring, but I need to have it fully painted and stuff too. So I got to decide soon. I have a Lizardman team that's fully painted and ready to go. So that's probably what I'm aiming for. But with the tournament rules, I don't necessarily like the rules. I don't think it's totally fair to some teams. So the part of me that just wants to win this tournament is like trying to figure out what's the best team under these rules. But
Is this a local thing? Are we going to be able to go and watch?
it will be in Del Mar.
Del Mar.
So I'll probably get a hotel room or something down there. But it's not that far. It's 2 days, Saturday and Sunday down there. And it's a whole thing at the Del Mar Fairgrounds. It's just like north of San Diego a little bit. So not too far of a drive.
Cool.
That would be awesome if you guys showed up.
I'll be there.
Hell yeah.
Well, I'll be washing my hair.
Take your fucking head off and show the camera.
Oh,
Those beautiful locks. Look at all that.
yeah.
That's a 3-hour drive right there.
Yeah.
That's right. And you can get this look too by contacting Wisemans on Instagram. Shout out, Greg.
Speaking of this awesome segue, Isaac, what did you just launch to the masses?
Thank you for that. I just launched my little movie review corner. Thank you for everybody that posted. Apparently, somebody took up the IG Forehead Films, so it's spelled out FOREHED Films on Instagram, where I do my little movie reviews. They're about a minute 30. I do them by myself, sometimes with friends, family, loved ones. And I've shot a couple. I still have to edit them, and they're going to be coming out soon. By the time this episode comes out, I'll have a handful of some of those reviews out.
Do we need to reach out to the person who's sitting on this Instagram handle? Put some pressure? Make them give it up?
You know what? Go for it, because this son of a gun doesn't have a lot of posts.
Oh, that's the worst.
Yeah. He has a cool cartoon animation, though, like big forehead thing. And I'm like, he stole my idea, although I'm second. Third, damn it.
Yeah, I think Twitter, which I don't use Twitter, and it doesn't even exist anymore.
X.
I think it's the one social media that Dougie Donuts, the way I spell it, was taken, and the person had posted nothing. And I was just like, God damn it,
Son of a bitch. Yeah. Look it up. Forehead Films. It's just there. And I'm like, whatever. So
just comment on every post like, this is what you're using that name for.
I will find you.
So again, that spelling is FOREHED Films on Instagram. But yeah, I started that up, and thank you again, everyone that has been sharing it and interacting with it. It's been fun doing it so far, and there's going to be a lot more to come. It's not going to just be movie reviews, but I'm also going to do something where it's something along the lines of like, what? You haven't seen that movie?
Oh shit!
So I'm going to be pulling movies off of the list that I've been writing down in the back of my notebook, and it's a growing list. A couple of other things. Speaking of reviews, I watched Secret Invasion, all of it, and
Yeah, I haven't brought that up yet.
and people, it's not great. Like, usually like something's good and people are like, whoa, don't spoil it just yet. Like immediately, I saw nobody in the comment sections being like, whoa, that's a spoiler, because it was just garbage. To sum it up, the end plot that they did in She-Hulk, with like stealing of her blood.
Oh yeah,
Which she made fun of. She's like, no, whoa. That's what this is going to be about. She jokingly said that she mocked the storyline. Well, they just went ahead and did that with Secret Invasion.
yeah, but they tied it in neatly to Iron Man 3.
With Extremis?
Yeah, that whole machine that they were using to make the Super Scroll was Extremis.
That's cool.
That was the only exactly.
Like
When they hit
I'm
that,
in no rush to go see that. Like,
when they hit that point in this show, I was
At
like,
all.
oh, that's cool. Like they're tying, like, because the MCU kind of ignored Extremis.
yeah.
It was one of those things that they brought into Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Like that was like, because if you guys remember, sorry, and this is sidetracking, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was supposed to be like going alongside the
Yeah.
MCU.
Yeah.
And so after Iron Man 3 hit, Extremis hit the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Same
and
thing
then-
when they time traveled.
Yeah. What? I don't know. I don't pay that much attention.
You just said Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
I don't pay that much attention.
Yeah, kind of fell off after.
It was the last
Yeah.
season. They used the same technology for,
Yeah. Anyway, so Extremis, like, MCU just kind of ignored. So it was cool to see them come back, but I also kind of feel like maybe that's what they're doing too much of with this current phase of just like, let's tie up some loose knots. Like, we don't care.
So I don't want to spend too much time on this, but I
Do it.
Okay. So
Do it.
I was like, okay, so they're like getting some superpowers, right? And I thought it was like 3 or 4. It sounded like a small collection, and then it showed like, if you like slow it down, you see all of the DNA that they extracted from so many good and bad guys. It was too much. It's like, when you're a kid and you're like, oh yeah, well I got this power. Oh yeah, well I got this power, and that, and they just went ahead and did that. And so by the end of the show, you have the good guy and the bad guy fighting, who have all the equal slew of powers.
Yeah.
It was way overdone.
I have to say, because Super Scroll, you guys are more Marvel knowledgeable than I am. Super Scroll originally was the Fantastic Four characters, all.
Yeah.
yeah.
And so the fact that they haven't introduced Reed Richards with his stretchy powers in the MCU yet, other than Doctor Strange, blah, blah, they replaced that with Groot.
Groot, yeah.
And I thought that was kind of interesting that he was able to use essentially the stretchy powers, but it was Groot's powers. Like, there's a lot of fun touches to the show, but
It just didn't
ultimately-
land.
Yeah, it didn't land, and then we're left with Gaia being the most powerful thing ever in the universe.
One of the
and
most-
we'll probably never see her again.
One of the most vapid characters. And I love Sam Jackson, and I love oh my god, Nick Fury. Excuse me, long day. And I love Nick Fury, and I wanted to, and I love series because they can expand and let a story breathe. And like the things that they did with his storyline and stuff like that, where they like retrofitted a romance, and it just didn't land. It wasn't. Here's the thing: it wasn't terrible. It just didn't land, and I was like, man, that's how you're gonna do it.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then the whole Cody Rhodes thing. War Machine. It's like they left it with questionable at what point. So it's super spoilers here. Whatever. No one cares about this show, right? He was a Skrull, and apparently
Since?
he might have been a Skrull since Civil War, right?
Yeah.
Like, because he. But
Where did
I don't-
they confirm that?
There's a whole argument because in Endgame and Infinity War, he was in the mechanical exosuit that kind of helped him up.
Yeah.
And so that might not have been the Skrull, but in this series, he certainly wasn't in the exosuit. So that, but when they rescued him from the Skrull compound, he couldn't walk, and like he was still in like the ER suit, or not ER suit. What's it called?
Like the robe.
The robe. Yeah.
Yeah.
The
Gown.
ass hanging out and shit. Yeah, gown. That's the word.
My chaps.
Yeah. And so yeah, like there's people that think like, oh, he's been a Skrull since Civil War, which means the whole in-game thing, the Tony Stark's funeral was Skrull Cody Rhodes.
And it was like, why need to do
Well,
that?
we are getting the Armor Wars series, and I hope they explore that. Like that'd be, if they don't explore that,
Douglas, they goddamn better.
yeah, if they don't explore that, then Marvel's fucked. Like they're done. Like
It's-
fuck it.
So because I had
They're done.
because of
Yeah.
because of Secret Invasion, I was like, man, I'm getting like property fatigued. You know, like major property fatigues, and so I needed to watch something that didn't have like, you know, main coming from a main thing. And I remember over the past couple of years seeing some advertisements for this, and I got around to watching it, and it's Good Omens, starring Michael Sheen and David Tennant.
Did you watch the first season?
I finished the second.
you did the
I
whole
finished
thing?
it like today.
I haven't dived into the second season, but I love Neil Gaiman and all his books, and so when they dropped that
Yeah.
series, I was really excited,
That's-
and it's pretty good.
Yeah, it's from the mind of Neil Gaiman, and he's the mind behind
Amazing.
Sandman
Yes.
and oh my god, I blanked out. I had it right here. Give me some more.
God damn it! Now you put me on the spot because like I've read like a handful of his books.
Was he the
Coraline.
one that made like the
American Gods.
American Gods?
American Gods, there you go,
yeah,
the big
yeah.
one.
I had it.
I
My
feel
bad.
bad now.
Beowulf and Michael Sheen and David Tennant play Aziraphale and Crowley. They're an angel and demon, respectively. And the storyline it's cool. It's quirky. It's quaint. But like that's really not like the reason why you're watching the show. Michael Sheen and David Tennant are fantastic actors, and their friendship throughout time since the beginning is interesting to watch because they're an angel and they're a demon, and it's how they navigate life. It's even though it has to do with heaven and hell, it's not like a heavy religion based show. It definitely has its colorization of like British humor, and of course David Tennant. You have to throw in some Doctor Who references in there, and so they do a couple of times, and it's fun. But I just finished the second season today, and it's a very good show. So check that one out. Last but not least, a couple of episodes ago, I don't remember when, me and Rudy had a debate. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, because we talked about this when I was over there. So go ahead.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Go ahead.
The Superman thing?
Yeah.
And afterwards, I had done some research and sorely found out that Rudy was right. And
Hold on. That's why we never heard about it again, because I was right. But go ahead.
I just couldn't figure out a way
What
to
was
like.
the
wrap it up?
debate?
The debate was, I was like, no, that Superman is actually I Love Lucy is part of like the Superman canon. Because Superman was, yeah. And so he flew in. I remember him flying in, blah blah blah. And then I was trying to look for the full episode. I couldn't, but I found like the part that mattered, and he did not, in fact, fly in. He just stepped through the window,
the kitchen partition,
which was also confirmed by your mom.
We were having a conversation about it, and she was like,
"Hi, Mama Rachel."
She was like, "Your friend is so full of shit." And I'm like, "Yeah, I know." She's like, "No, I remember that episode. Like, she said, I know my I Love Lucy."
She said, "I would like to comment on episode 11. You brought tears to my eyes with I Love Lucy. Also, Superman does not fly in to save the day, but pop in through the kitchen shutters, then save Lucy by moving piano away from window and climbs out to help Lucy in Gary episode. Typo, but
yeah, that's mom."
Dang, man, you got your mom to back you up. I can barely have my mom figure out how to find the goddamn
so that
podcast.
implies that George Reeves in the I Love Lucy world like climbed the fire escape.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if they ever established what floor Lucy and Ricardo lived on, but like he climbed it to get that entrance.
It might be the
No.
second
Okay,
or third floor.
let me set the stage.
I mean, anything like one floor. Like,
So there's
that's
the
a
living
lot.
room, and then the door to the kitchen. And for whatever reason, there, you know how you usually have like an open bar area that kind of faces the living room into the kitchen.
Oh yeah, they had the weird door thing.
They
right?
had like a shutter that would close that thing off.
Yeah.
So all the kids are sitting in the living room, and behind the kitchen shutter, he's on the other side, and they open it up, and he just like jumps into the living room from the kitchen. Oh. So he's in the house already. He jumps into the living room. So it's not like,
How long was he in the house?
I don't know. But it's one of those things where they establish in the universe that he's George Reeves, the actor, and he's a friend of Ricky Ricardo. And that's how he's able to get him to come to
Ricky knew everybody.
his son's birthday party.
So, my brain can't be trusted, guys. That's what I did.
I mean, we've said it a million times. Like, fucking double check anything. Don't go.
Fact check my ass,
Don't
yeah.
quote us.
Man, it was one of those
Be like,
things
hey,
that-
Hype Attack brought this up. Google it first.
Except when it comes to I
and
Love
then
Lucy,
give us
'cause
credit.
then I will fuck you.
Have you had those moments though where you're like, no, but this is exactly how I remember it. Like I could visualize it. I can taste it. I was wrong. I was sorely wrong. I might not even be married. I might be making that up. Rudy, on to you. Enough of my bullshit.
Oh, I didn't do shit, man. I've been having a couple of months back to back where I'm just like, I don't want to do fucking shit. I did.
You need a good phone game.
Yeah, I did actually get the AMC A-list pass activated.
You could join our entourage.
So now I'll be able to just fucking randomly go to movies at the drop of a hat now.
I will message you all the time because I do that quite a bit.
Yeah, that entourage feature is super awesome. You familiar with that?
Yeah.
Oh god, that's so cool. Because you remember, like back in the day before that, you'd be like, "Hey, there's a seat open, get it," and blah blah blah, and somebody'd be too busy to get it.
I can remember even further back when you had to get there early and just buy a ticket and wait in line.
Oh my
man.
god, those were the days.
Yeah.
Jermaine, those were the days.
The good old days.
Yeah. I kind of miss it because the hardcore people got the good seats.
Yeah.
All the fucking casuals.
Now I can show up 20 minutes
piece
late.
of shit casuals got the front.
I skipped the trailers.
Oh, because
You
once
are a filthy casual.
No. Once you have the
I hate your
AMC
sticky
pass,
notes. Yep, I hate them.
once you have the AMC pass and you're going to like 2-3 movies a week,
It's so much.
I try to make it for the trailers because I still like the trailers, but I'm not speeding down the street.
Right.
You
Yeah.
know, like I'm not, because it's 30-45 minutes of trailers now. You know,
It's so long.
if the show starts at 5, like I am not in a hurry.
long.
And then I'm sick and tired of fucking Nicole
Bitches.
Kidman's face. We make movies
Hold
better.
on.
Shut up.
I got two things for that. I have a running joke with Rachel when we're sitting in a movie and fucking like 40 minutes of trailers is over. I'm like, what movie do we come to see again?
Yeah.
I don't even fucking
That's
remember.
happened.
And then I was reading comments where someone was talking about a hype movie. I don't know if it was Oppenheimer or Barbie, but that when that part came up, someone stood up and did her lines like as she was doing it.
Yeah.
And as soon as they were done, everyone applauded. And I'm like, that If that happened, fuck everyone in that theater.
It's become a running joke. I saw some pair of girls who go to concerts on TikTok. They did their own version of that, but like for the concerts that they go
some
see.
guy did it for like EDC or something like that. It was great. It's like when the lights dim low and he was like in a outhouse, porta potty.
Is there not like a skip button?
I like it because it's like, yeah, movies are awesome. Like I was just telling you guys, I was watching The Fablemans last night, and one of the like motifs of that movie was just how powerful a movie can be. And I think in this world of all the bullshit, and I hate saying bullshit because this is literally what we talk about, the bullshit franchise stuff that I think is certainly getting watered down a little bit, like we were just talking about with Secret Invasion. I think we do forget how powerful a movie can be.
Yeah.
I'm tired of it because I go see so many movies, just like, because I go to the Dolby Theater a lot. So I'm just as tired of hearing like, yes, the screen or the projector is still on. It's like,
Do you make that joke?
Oh yeah, every time. Yeah.
Is it? Did they turn it off? Oh, there it
projector's
is.
still on.
I try not to, and then my wife goes, "Is the projector still on?" I'm like, enough about our bullshit.
Have you guys ever been at a movie theater where someone does something funny like that, like stand up and repeats the lines or anything like that?
Not like that, where they put on a fucking show.
Shout out to my brother Dave. We were I don't remember what movie it was, but a trailer ended, and it was one of those like serious, like sad movie trailers. Ended, went to black.
Schindler's List.
Theater was quiet, and Dave just let out the biggest belch. Loud. I mean, like a 10 out of 10. It was like the perfect fucking belch. And I shit you not, the whole theater applauded. Whole theater applauded. It was a standing ovation. And it was like perfect timing. Like, I don't like giving Dave too much credit for anything because he's my brother and that's what we do. But like, that will go down. Like, this will be at his eulogy. I mean, I'll probably die before him. But like, I will tell this story.
The burp of 05 or whatever
Yeah,
it was.
it was probably like 97 or something like that. 98. I don't know. It was great.
Jermaine, how did you nerd out?
I'm currently in the second season of the Uncanny Counter, which is the production value drastically went up.
Oh, did it?
Oh,
And
I heard the second season floundered.
It
Oh, you
no,
look
not
offended
really.
by that.
No, not really. Like it all depends because the things that I've read that's saying that it didn't capture the magic of the first season.
Which is always going to be hard, right?
Yeah, it's going to be hard, but the characters are evolving, so they're going to, so they have better control of their powers and abilities. So what's happening right now in the story, I like it because they're facing people that have like the same abilities as them. Like, there's these demons that killed another.
These are the canny people versus the uncanny.
They killed another country's counter. So they absorbed them and they got their abilities. So now they're getting stronger and they're like, oh, well, we can go over here and we could, try to take these guys out. So if we keep taking these people out, we can get stronger. So it's just one of those things. Like it's like pretty interesting. But the magic of the first season was just like you get into this world and there's this average guy like, everybody else that gets brought into this world. And it's just one of those things like he's trying to figure out his place and how to control these powers, and all that stuff. So that magic aspect of like, this is a new world, this guy has to find his way through it, and he's fighting demons, and he has abilities, and he feels like he has to protect people because of what his powers can do. Versus the second season where everybody's bossed out to a degree, but it's like now I have control of my powers, and it's almost like one of those things, where you can see people, where's the challenge, like where's the magic? But to me, it's there in the second season, just because, like I said, they're fighting people that have the same abilities. So threat level wise, it's higher. So that's where I'm at right now. But
That's
I also,
sorry to interrupt,
No,
but
go
like, I
ahead.
think we talked about in one of the first episodes, just the idea of world building is like such a nerd. What makes something nerd is the world building, and so like it sounds like it's got some good world building, and that's such like a good, like fun thing to do with a second season is bringing in someone from like another part of that world.
Yeah.
And like now you get to see how they interact with this.
And that's on Netflix, right?
Yeah, this is on Netflix. And it makes sense because even after the first season, you look at it and we're like, well, where are they going to go and what's the threat going to be? Because they're pretty much demon hunters. Like somebody has a demon inside them because they
Yeah, we
killed
would.
killed somebody. So they damn near exorcise them. Like they battle them, of course, and they exorcise them. Or pass the soul on to the next level. But it's just one of those things. Where do you go next after that? And now you find out that these demons can get their abilities. So that's where they're going. And
Right on.
I think it's pretty interesting.
I'm very happy to report that I've watched the first 10 minutes of episode 1.
Was it uncanny?
That's all he's gonna watch.
I know.
What do the noodles look
I was
like?
hooked. I'm ready.
They were canned noodles.
But I also watched Invincible, Autumn Eve.
Yeah.
Damn it.
That is so good. It's her origin story. I would definitely recommend it. Like, it was a solid movie. Like, it's a movie.
On Hulu.
Wait, is it?
Oh, on Amazon. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's on Amazon.
I'm a Hulu stan.
You pretty much get her origin story from how she was created and like what happened to her, because this group wanted to create the ultimate weapon. So they did, but the scientist that created her got her out of there, and because he figured
Was
what they were
hoping
going
to
to use. So they're going to do what?
You rescue her over the bag, right?
It's a little baby.
Oh! I
It's a
didn't know. I
baby.
didn't know.
It's a little baby.
Take it back. Rewind.
So
Open the groove.
No comment.
No. So right. So they genetically did experiments on her mom, created this ultimate weapon. They he pretty much got her out of there, rescued her, but he gave her to another family to hide her. Told them that they died, and it's just one of the things. So she grew up like a regular, kid in a house, but her parents always thought that she was weird, and the way that her parents
They closed doors. God, this kid's fucking weird.
they straight up told her that shit to her face.
Because she's a redhead.
I wasn't the only one.
No, it's
I love
the
the
Invincible.
Invincible
It's the
series.
Invincible
They don't
world.
fuck around at
So
all.
they don't hold back at all. Like they tell her you're fucking weird as fuck, because she's growing up, doesn't know really what she is, but she can see certain things, but she doesn't really know what it is, and she's just staring off at things. She doesn't have any friends for a while, but anyways, so she comes to her own and finds out that she can. I freaking wrote this thing down here. So she can ultimately,
Her
baby.
powers are similar to Green Lanterns. It's like Adam could, or
in a sense, so
energy manipulation.
so she possesses the ability to transmute any material on a molecular level, manipulate energy, and create objects from nothing. She has that ability.
Like an alchemist without all the stupid rules.
Yeah, pretty much
equivalent
like her
exchange.
clothes, her clothes. She could make that into her superhero outfit. I was looking at Doug with that one, but it's,
was it Rule 35?
34.
Excuse me.
34.
Yeah,
Pardon me.
34.
Get it right,
Jesus
motherfucker.
Christ.
Ew, 35?
But it's a solid origin story,
You
because
don't
she
want to
does
know
have to
what
face
35 is. Sorry.
because she does have to face other people that's like her, but it's the ones that came after her, so they're not as good as her, and they kind of blame her, for what they are, and it's just like a good heart-warm story, but also sad at the same time. But definitely recommend watching it.
And this takes place before the Invincible show?
Yeah, because it even it's her origin story from the
Okay.
time she's born to when she learns and becomes like a superhero.
That's right. That's what I meant. Yeah, what I did.
But her young teen years.
Not legal.
Okay.
So at the end, you get a glimpse of where she was and where the what's his name? The main character in Invincible. I can't believe I forgot his name off the top of my head.
Invincible?
No,
It's Invincible.
his real name, you dork. And Isaac is over there chuckling I know his name, but what's his real name?
Joke
Oh my God, you guys are the worst. You guys, Invincible. I literally said, what's the main character's name in Invincible?
Yeah.
What's his real name?
Low-hanging fruit, wait before it.
But anyways,
Oh, it's so clever.
if I had a Fozzie Bear tomato,
Continue, Jimmy.
I would throw it in all your fucking faces.
We deserve it. I would
Edible
take
strawberries.
it.
Yeah.
But anyways, like it even shows where he was and what he was doing, and, but like a little clip, just to show you like the nonsense that he was doing. But
Definitely check it out.
but definitely recommend it.
That's awesome because I think about comic book like when they do the big storylines and they have those little like offshoots, and that's something I've always wished more of these the cinematic universes would do, where it's like give us the main story, which they're doing with Invincible, and then it's like I hope they do more of these offshoots with such as the Adam Eve thing, which I still need to watch, but.
And that's the thing that I always feel like with just people in general, like moviegoers, comic book readers, anime, watchers, K-drama
Nerds.
watchers.
Nerds.
But just nerds, geeks in general.
There you go.
The art of storytelling is one of those things like where I sit there and listen to certain people. I'm like, shut the fuck up and just let the story play out. Like, you don't have to have everything explained in the beginning. Like, they can go back and explain anything, or as the story goes forward, you don't need every character's origin story, especially in a world like this, like right off the bat. Like, they can go back or have a single comic, anything like that, and just get into it and feed you all the information that you want if you're patient enough. That's one of my big gripes, is people don't have the patience for the art of storytelling.
Well, I mean, storytelling is, I think, different in this genre.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's not necessarily the patience, but the understanding of what this genre does. And also, I don't know, people suck.
I'm like, we're trying to reason
Unless you're
with
listening
people.
to us. Like,
Yeah.
I fucking love you.
Thank you, all Hypertech listeners.
I'll give you a hug if you find us. We play a co-op for 20 minutes and then we handy. then we nap.
Oh, I'm gonna save up for that.
Oh,
I ain't
thank
J
you.
my D for at least 2 days.
Yeah, it's not worth doing it. The ball's drained.
We're making it more difficult
Spitting dust.
for Mr. Lightburn. And so,
Oh no, you guys aren't making it difficult for me at all.
oh yeah, you got this.
I know how to mentally edit.
Fucking do it. All right.
Watch this.
Dude,
Hold
it's-
on.
Watch this.
Hold on.
Shake the sillies out.
Well,
Watch
let's
this.
not start sucking each other's dicks quite yet.
Yes.
And that's how I nerded out last weekend.
Beautiful.
So let's get into this Turtle Power episode, fellas.
Cowabunga.
So we all watched Mutant Mayhem, and Isaac, I believe he watched it like a week before us.
Yeah, he couldn't
and
wait.
then
Doesn't
I
like
know,
us.
rude.
Rude.
He's like Raphael, the damn rude dude.
He went off on himself.
I know.
By himself.
The damn-
It's worth
the
even
damn
getting here for the
solo-
podcast to plan to
that
go see a
damn
fucking movie with you
solo
guys.
turtle.
Forget about
I don't know.
it.
Whatever. Fuck you.
There's like we're supposed it's four of us. We're supposed to be the
Yeah.
four brothers.
Yeah.
We've been doing 16 of these at this point, and we don't have a single like group picture of us. Like, we're going to the movies. I mean, it's like Jermaine, Rudy, and I could have done it. Isaac's just like, whatever, fuck you.
Hey, I
I'm
put the
gonna
invite
go.
out there for Across the Spider-Verse. God damn it.
Yeah, I was probably busy. I mean, my stuff's important.
My life is more important than yours.
Fucking sons of bitches.
I don't
Yeah,
want
try harder,
young eyes.
Isaac. Be part of the team.
Oh, you did
The
one,
Flash?
You did one fucking movie?
Oh yeah, you saw the Flash with like me and my dad and Dave.
Well, we're not gonna save Isaac
a
any
pube?
pizza anyways.
It hurts my tum-tum.
Anyway, I totally like
Pepperoni's too
whatever.
spicy.
So yes, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
Yeah, he
Mutant
is.
Mayhem.
Had my hands
What a
super-
movie.
What a movie
It was
that
really good.
I didn't.
Are we spoiling anything?
Oh yeah, we can.
Fuck yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
All
fuck
right.
yeah.
We
Oh,
all
yeah.
saw it.
Oh, yeah,
Fuck
we-
everybody else.
Disclaimer.
Yeah.
Disclaimer here.
Spoiler alert.
we all saw it.
If we've seen it, fuck everybody else.
For real.
So I want to know what was you guys' first thought, not about the movie yet, when you found out who was writing the movie.
Well, wait, he didn't write it though, right? Seth Rogen. You're talking about Seth Rogen.
Yeah, didn't he write it?
Yeah, him and his longtime writing partner wrote it,
Oh,
I believe. Yeah.
Because I do remember when Nickelodeon or whoever said that they were going to come out with another movie. I thought it was going to be live action, and that he was going to write it. And it was one of those things I didn't find out till a little bit later. Oh, there's going to be another animated movie, and I was like, you know what? I think he'd probably do a pretty good job, especially with an animated
partner's
movie.
name is Evan Goldberg. I wanna say.
Yes, I think that's his.
But
name.
like
Are you
he's-
pretending to like recall that, or did you Google it?
No, I didn't Google it. I still have
His acting's not that
Invincible
good.
Mark Grayson on my screen.
Okay.
Do you swear to the red light of recording?
I swear. I swear to the red light district.
Oh man, red light district. There's a story. There's a hypertext after.
Yeah, we'll get
After
to
hours.
that.
Don't get
Yeah.
it going.
Another
Well-
brewery
Yeah.
trip. We'll
Habitat
get to
story
that.
times. We'll
So
have a segment for those.
Oh, that'd be fun.
to answer your question, guys, seriously, I think I mentioned in a previous podcast how like we've hit this age where nerds like us are in these positions to create. And so when I heard like Seth Rogen was doing this, I'm like, I had no previous knowledge that Seth Rogen was necessarily a Ninja Turtle fan, but he seems like the guy that would have watched it and grew up with it.
Yeah, no shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly, right? So, and it's exciting because maybe
Terrible. Sorry.
I've never heard your voice go that high.
because maybe this will be the signal to like all these studio execs, like, hey, let's let the nerds make the nerd shit.
Like James Gunn and like Snyder, like the people that care about the properties really, really pay homage to it because this movie was perfect. I don't think I found a flaw with it.
I mean,
I didn't find
Not
movie making.
One.
I didn't really find a flaw. There was nothing that's like super memorable. Like I'm not gonna like. I don't want to instantly sidetrack this conversation, but right before you showed up, I was watching The Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, which was Nickelodeon's first animation. No, their first. When Nickelodeon got the rights, they did like a 3D thing, but then they did this and they did a movie. That was really good, and that had some moments that I would go back to watch. Like I would watch that movie again because some of the animation moments were phenomenal. This movie, no matter how much like I love the animation, and like, I had mentioned in a previous episode of ours that I love that the animation wasn't clean. It wasn't like that standard American animation that we're used to. It was something unique. It was stylized. I love
it was
that.
New York.
The voice work was phenomenal.
Of Mutant Mayhem
Of
or
Mutant Mayhem.
Yeah.
It was phenomenal. Like, and it's
like what teens would sound like.
It's it's impressive how much the animation matched the voice acting. I'm really curious what came first, because just listening to the voice while I was in the theater, I almost forgot it was animation. It was so clean and it was so natural. It was,
yeah, I agree with the naturalness of it.
and I mean, it was probably the most modern voice work that I've heard in a long time, to the point where in front of us at the movie theaters, you wouldn't know because you went before us. But there was a group of teens in front of us that were talking the whole time and like on their phones. Like, seriously, fuck off, Gen Z. If you don't have that attention span, don't go to the movie theaters. But when one of the turtles like said something about Riz, like,
Yeah.
oh, he had the Riz.
Yeah.
Like they all laughed and like they were kind of groaning because, like, which I get. Like I get being part of that generation and like hearing your own vernacular in the like modern media. But like for me, looking at it, it's like, yeah, the turtles have always been like very
Of the era.
of the era. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like cowabunga, radical, like this, and that. And
Booyakasha.
so hearing this movie even like say the word Riz, which is something that I, as a almost 41-year-old man, like had just recently understood what it even meant.
Oh, so you have L Riz.
What?
There's W Riz and L Riz.
Explain it to the
like
man.
When, like when
Christ.
Explain it to
like,
him.
okay, I didn't.
He ain't
I
getting it.
didn't
He's
know
saying
those
the
two
word
words,
Riz. Like-
but,
There's more than one.
Riz is like,
Of course, there's more than one.
Charisma.
yeah, Riz is
it's a shortening
charisma,
of
but like,
which is a D&D stat that I usually ignored unless I
Specific
was a paladin.
charisma.
but
It's
it's
when
like
you're trying to
almost like you
romance
have
someone.
like, no, not necessarily in that term, but like it's like how much swagger somebody has. Like if I can put it to like another word, like it's like
It's how much game you got when you're throwing it at the opposing gender.
That's what I thought it was.
Or the gender that you're trying to attract.
But it's like
It's a new millennium. It's not always the opposing.
You're
a
exactly
degree.
right. I apologize.
We're 23 years old to the new millennium. It's not always.
But yeah, the loser, like L Riz is no Riz, W Riz is you have, extremely high Riz.
I'd probably
Yeah, the
have
juice.
El Riz because
It's game, man. That's what it is. It's game.
My El Riz is like it's 130. Like, what else is there?
It's Mojo. It's Mojo, baby.
Yeah.
I had no idea what the Riz meant, and then one of my coworkers, who was a 20-year-old female at work, asked me, like, she was like, she's like, you don't have
It's
any
okay, it's
Riz,
legal.
do you? And I'm like, what the fuck is that? And she's like, go put the Riz on someone right now. And I'm like, what are you fucking talking about? Like, I had to walk away and pull my phone out.
Why? What she means is when you're courting a female or male of someone
And,
that gender you're attracted to.
I looked it up and I saw it and I went back and I'm like, I'm fucking married. I don't need to have Riz anymore. I don't care about anybody in this fucking place. Get out of
Hey,
here.
when you and I are driving together, it sure doesn't seem like it.
There's a part of me, and I don't want to turn this podcast into just like
Go on, old man.
new generation words. But I love that Riz is like a shortening of charisma, and again, charisma to me is just a D&D stat, and which I generally ignored unless I was playing a paladin, because paladins back in advanced D&D second edition had like bonuses for charisma.
I'm so hard right now.
Yeah.
So on your next campaign, just make sure you're like, all right, rolled a 10 for Riz.
But I mean, like a 10. That's pretty.
I don't
low.
know.
I mean, you. So back in the day, you rolled 3d6.
Oh boy.
So you had a scale from 3 to 18. No, but nowadays, like as I approach role playing games, something like charisma or the way you like approach dialogue or something like that, depending on, and not every game uses the same stats. It's like become more important to me.
These last 10 minutes have been brought to you by old guys talking about new words.
To answer your earlier question, though, I was very excited when I saw that Seth Rogen was the runner of this
Right.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and then just to see the cast he assembled. As someone mentioned earlier,
The huge cast.
Trent Reznor and his music, and I saw that he was the music boss on this thing, and I'm like, oh, that figures,
Dude, as far as like the cast, Jackie Chan stole the movie.
You think so?
I just
I
said
thought
it.
he was very good. I don't know if he stole it, but I thought he was very good.
What it reminded me of like all the other movies, all the American movies that Jackie Chan was in, where you lean on like him having an accent, so you feed him funny lines, and it makes it even funnier. Same thing with like Arnold Schwarzenegger, which
If
you
you're
also
racist.
acknowledge. It's not racist if they're happy to do it.
Yeah, okay.
Except for Rush Hour, what is it, 2? Jackie Chan says some stuff he shouldn't say. Anyhow, but just him saying those things and like Jackie Chan, I fucking love Jackie Chan. And it's so he always, whatever character he plays, he always has like heart. He's always just a really good dude. And to have him play, I know they didn't call him Master Splinter.
Oh, we'll get into that.
But he was Dad, he was Splinter, and was a very loving individual, very very loving character, and to be voiced by Jackie Chan, but also giving him those funny ass lines, gold.
Yes, and I would say when I heard Jackie Chan was gonna be the voice of Splinter, I was worried that like I would just hear Jackie Chan, and I didn't. He did a really good job, or maybe they did it in post or whatever. Where it was like it wasn't the Jackie Chan accent. I could tell it was him.
What do you mean
in
by
the,
that?
the delivery. Everybody has an individual accent and a sound. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I know you're trying to bait me as the white guy here.
Damn, we almost got him again, guys.
Yeah, you
Come on,
guys
hey,
can try.
if you're gonna fucking set him up, finish him. Fucking do it, man. Hold on, I had it. Oh, sorry. Finish your point.
Oh no, I think I finished. I was just going to repeat myself. That's what I do.
Jermaine, the story wise, Isaac says that this is a perfect movie, and it's pretty good. It's almost there.
Yeah, it was almost there. It wasn't quite.
To me, though, the fact that they're moving away from Splinter and the Shredder being, mortal enemies,
Master Splinter,
from them being, that original story of them being, connected through Japan and then coming to New York and continuing the rivalry. The fact that wasn't in this one kind of like I was sitting there like just kind of slightly uncomfortable when they were kind of explaining their origin. What do you think?
Oh no, like that was definitely one of the things that when they got into that part of the story, especially how they learned their martial arts, whatever you want to call it, like that aspect.
I watched a lot of Power Rangers and I don't know martial arts.
I get it for this day and age, like, everything is online, like you can go to YouTube, yada yada yada, to learn something, but just
how to beat the foot.
right? But just that aspect, I was like, it really didn't like hit with me. Like it was one of those things like where I just took it for what it was. Like I'll play along.
I swallowed it, but it went down sideways. Like it was just like I was just a little uncomfortable with that. Like otherwise, I like the story. Just that aspect of it. Just I guess from growing up with them.
That's exactly it.
Like that was just
so
it threw me for a loop.
That's the thing. Is like it's a perfect movie unless you're an old school TMNT fan. Like it, and that, I mean, maybe that's the thing with all of these IPs, all these franchises, where we have an idea or we're used to a certain story element. And so obviously Seth Rogen made this decision for maybe comedic purposes, or like you were saying, like with the times, or you were saying earlier before we started recording, with the times, and like people don't really learn kung fu randomly too often these days. And then after watching the movie, Rudy, you and I were even talking about like Rocksteady and Bebop. Like they weren't villains. And that's the one thing about the movie where like I want to say it's a perfect movie. I really do. But as someone that like grew up with TMNT and like have been like kind of involved, not really though, because in my research for this episode, like there's a lot of TMNT that I missed, but like reading the comics and watching the original cartoons and the original trilogy live action movie, there are certain things that is like I expect from TMNT that like this movie just moved away from. And it's not necessarily bad. I am curious what they're going to do with it. The big thing for me was the ending implied that the Shredder was almost just like a hired fucking villain,
Like a mercenary.
Yeah, like bring me the Shredder. That killed me because I like the Shredder. I like the rivalry that Shredder and Splinter had. I guess maybe it's a good time to like explain this. Where Splinter in the original comics, Splinter was a rat that belonged as like a pet to.
I think in the comics he was human that was turned into.
No. Comics was rat.
Oh, the comics, not the animated.
Original cartoon was human. Comics was rat. Rat that belonged to
Hamato Yoshi.
Yeah.
Yes, who belonged to a guy that was a kung fu master that used. I think
Which
you said
the live
earlier-
action movie.
Yeah, I think the live action did the same thing. Yeah. Like I think most original iterations was the rat that belonged to a guy that was learning kung fu and karate and all these things, and learned it by watching him. The original cartoon, the original animated series that debuted in like '87 or something like that, the one that anyone our age certainly grew up with, retconned it a little bit and changed it to the idea that it was a human. When he approached the mutagen, became a rat because like he touched a rat or I don't know how they explain.
Yeah, like
that.
it depends like what level of mutagen that you're talking about, because him living in the sewers around rats, like the rat DNA was around him, so that turned him into that. So that's why when you had in the cartoons, our generation, you had Rocksteady and Bebop, like it was these humans that were turned into these animals.
Exactly the same thing. They were humans that became the animals. So I think like us as at our age, we have this understanding of like Splinter and Shredder having this like rivalry that like dated back to like their early days.
Oh yeah, they had history.
Yeah, and this new movie kind of took that away. So like us, like definitely like recognize that. But if I were to like somehow like turn off like a good portion of my personality and just like watch it for like today, like if I was a young person watching it today,
That would be me through
Yeah.
my lens.
Which is trash. No, go ahead, continue.
yeah, great. Again, just super great. The like everything I've already mentioned is super cool about this movie.
See, and I don't mind the reimagined version of these turtles, but it like I can watch it for what it is, just like the Michael Bay ones. Like I didn't really care for their designs, which I've mentioned before, but it was just one of those things. Like if you have the turtles there and they're the essence of the turtles, I'm gonna watch it. But this one felt more like a coming of age type of movie, not necessarily anything that had to do with them being like Ninja Turtles. It was just them like legit being the teenage aspect.
the T part of the TMNT.
Yeah,
exactly.
the teenage aspect, and them, which they've always had throughout, I guess, each version of their, like whether it be animated, comic book, movies, where they've always wanted to be accepted into the real world. Because in our generation, Raphael used to go out wearing the trench coat and the hat, like if he wanted to go to the movies, like because if he's a large ass turtle, look like a giant turtle, all that stuff. So it was just one of those things where they heavily focused on that aspect of the Ninja Turtles, which is fine. I don't mind it, but there's a lot of elements in there that you really wanted to see that you didn't get, but I'm okay with it just because it's the animated movie. Now, if they ever came out with a live action movie and this was a live action, no, that wouldn't fly.
Yeah. So I think to your point, the action elements, and maybe this is because they were fighting a villain that was like a large, especially towards the end, like the big climactic battle was like he was a large element, a large villain. And like that, anytime you have like a large villain, like the fighting style changes, the overall dynamic of the combat changes. And when you're dealing with something that's like ninjutsu or ninja, karate, martial arts, like you want that more one-to-one combat. And so I feel like this is where like the sequel with Shredder, or because they've already announced there's going to be a spin-off series and a sequel. So I don't know which one's going to get Shredder. I'm hoping it's the sequel movie is going to get a Shredder combat, but that's the combat I'm looking forward to. And I appreciate what they've done because they use this first movie to introduce mutants on like a large scale. And again, going back to the many different iterations of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the IDW comics have done an amazing job over all these years of just introducing all sorts of mutants. And I mean, like the original cartoon and stuff had all sorts of mutants too, but like this is a world with a bunch of mutants.
Yeah, like right off the bat.
Yeah, so I appreciate that this new movie introduced us to that world. Like, here's a bunch of mutants. Like, the world's gonna have to adjust to this, and so part of me wanted to see the Shredder right away. We didn't get him, but I'm kind of okay with this versus like the Michael Bay movies where we didn't get the Shredder right away, and like there was no reason why. There wasn't like a reason at all.
So I've never seen the Michael Bay Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. What was, and I won't. What was Shredder?
I don't even know. Like he was a corporate. Was he a hired dude too? Like I don't know. Like it certainly didn't stand out to me.
He was also one of those. Wasn't he changed from the first one to the second one?
Now I don't remember because those
I do
movies
think
are so
like he was a
I don't even know if
different.
they referenced him in the first one.
I just remember like YouTubing a fighting scene between the Turtles and Shredder, and he just like has this like Swiss Army knife of like swords on his arms and stuff like that. I was like, well, So excessive.
It was like
Yeah, 'cause you know
like
that
a
dude doesn't have
corporate, like a corporate hire. Like he was like if there was a corporation and then they hired him and he had his own crime, mafia, but the Foot Clan. And,
Yeah.
he was kind of hand in hand with them, but not the main villain until like the end.
I think it was again just a good example of like people being involved in the production of that movie that just didn't know the Turtles.
Yeah, that
Didn't grow up
series
with
was
it.
also okay. Like that
Like had a
series wasn't-
half-ass understanding of what the Turtles were. It was just like, oh, Shredder, he's
And
a,
they also
he's a
they
guy.
also did
Maybe all that gears are making coleslaw.
they also did bamboozle us in that because I do remember me and Doug having a conversation that they were saying that the Michael Bay Turtles were supposed to be on the same level as the Raid
Yeah.
in action.
What?
And this was before
yeah.
like before the movies even came out. They were talking about
Where did that shit come from?
I don't know. Someone
I don't know, but it
someone
was-
important enough to hit like headlines.
I remember that.
Yeah.
and I was like, no way is that about to happen with these turtles.
And the thing is that it
My
could.
mind wasn't ready. Yeah,
The thing is like that setting of like New York Turtles. They could have picked the Shredder. They could have picked anyone to be at like the top of a building, and the Turtles had to make their way up to it.
Mm-hmm.
Like they could have absolutely 100% done the Raid with Turtles, and that's was some of the early unofficial releases about those Michael Bay ones.
Yeah, I feel like it was just a bunch of rumors though, but it got me hyped. But when you went to the movies, it was nothing like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, naturally, Michael Bay has some issues with action.
Well, I think it was just like whenever you take something from that was like generally mostly animated and then like bring it into live action, I don't know, they like overdid it. They overdid it a bunch, and it's like the fun of the Turtles wasn't necessarily like I one of the few things that I remember from the Michael Bay movies was like I want to say 20 minutes, but that's just my normal thing. It probably wasn't 20, but they had a very long intro of them like just getting to their turtle lair in the sewer, and it was just like them on skateboards, and they were like spinning around and like saying all the catchphrases like boom, cowabunga. It's like that's not exciting. And from a movie making point of view, it's like why would you spend, especially with something that is CG heavy? It was live action, but it wasn't like people in suits. It was CG. It was mocap, right?
Mm-hmm.
It was like why would you spend so much money and time of your story on a 15-minute ride to your lair?
Again, it's Michael Bay. His stories have never been strong. I never looked back to any of Michael Bay's films. I think aside from Bad Boys, right? Where it's like when it comes to like Transformers or even like again kind of aware of the TMNT that he did, it's just so much action. Like I never really heard anybody talk about like the character development. It's like it's more of like thrown in there like yeah it's a movie. It has to have I guess it has to have a story and something like that. Some semblance of relationships, but we're not really leaning on that. Look at this flashy chase scene down like a snowy mountainside.
Well, that's the thing with Michael Bay movies. Like I feel like you just got to go in there and turn your mind off and just watch everything for what it is. Like it's not, you're not going there for like a deep story.
Yeah, I call
or any
those
character development.
I think I said it before. I call those popcorn movies where you turn your brain off at the door, don't have any expectations, and just watch like mindlessness, like Fast and the Furious movies. But
the greatest
You
superhero
watch
franchise
your
of all time.
mouth. Fast and the Furious.
that's all about family.
So
Yeah.
I think we can pretty much agree that the Michael Bay iterations are probably our least favorite.
Of the 20 different iterations. Yeah.
So what are your guys' favorites though?
Is this the segue into the history of the Teenage Mutant Ninja
Well,
Turtles?
I'm probably more than we can get to in one episode, but
Yeah.
just to kind of graze over everything and pick what we want to talk about.
So I think I'll take it from here
Isaac's
because
the
mine's
young one.
really short.
Yeah.
I was born in 1990, And I think we found out the live action movie came out in 1990. And I remember growing up and watching that live action, and it was my first introduction to the Turtles, and I loved it. I loved the live action portion of it. I loved the comedy of it, the voice acting. I mean, I used to watch it over and over. It's been a while. But then after that, I don't think I watched anything else turtle related. So like everything I know is basically from that movie and then whatever anyone else talks about. Because when you were talking about the flashback scene of Splinter learning karate and stuff, and he's a little rat in a cage, like, yeah, huh. I'm like, okay, I guess that's a thing.
That's that Jim Henson right there, baby.
Did you ever watch the other two movies in that?
I know
that
there was a
first
time traveling thing.
Of course, you would bring that one
Secret
up.
of the Ooze and Turtles in Time.
I do remember vaguely remember the second one.
I do want to watch the third one again. I've read recently that like over time people have learned to accept it and it's become like a thing. Like
Because that's the only other live action one we have, so you have to.
because the
But
first
see,
two were so good.
The animatronics in part 3 is garbage.
Yeah,
Garbage.
that's what I remember. Was just even as a young Doug, I remember like going to that third one. Like, why did they change everything? Like, why do the turtles look different? Why do they act different?
to
Why-
quote
I
you,
don't know if
money.
Well, money wise, but I don't remember.
So sorry.
No, go
The Ninja Turtles was just raking in money at that point. You're too young to remember this. You were literally a baby when all this was happening, like a newborn. But the time from when Eastman and Laird created the comic to the cartoon to the live action, it was like 5 years.
Oh wow!
Like it went from like literally them just making a fucking sketch. I think Michelangelo was the first turtle that Eastman, I think, drew.
and the best.
Yeah. And it was like they drew it, they made some comics.
Shut your whore mouth.
There was the cartoon, and then like the cartoon came out like in 87, I think. And then the movie came out, first live action movie came out 89, 90. And it was like that whole time period was just so much turtles. Like everything, like the toys, the cartoon, because even the cartoon was basically a pitch to sell the toys. I think they originally signed for like a 5 episode, like we're just going to make a cartoon so we can sell the toys. Like Turtles was everywhere. So it's shocking that the third part of that trilogy like didn't have the same finances.
I heard somewhere
if that's
though.
the excuse.
I did hear somewhere though that I do believe Jim Henson, his studio, whatever, was involved in the earlier ones, and I don't think he had anything to do with the third one. Oh. So that was like a lot of the production
That makes more
value,
sense.
That's something to look into.
like
for
dropped
sure.
heavily, and that's why like the animatronics and all that stuff just didn't flow. Like even when they moved their lips and they talked, like it just looked.
Flappy lip.
Like I said,
yeah.
even as a young person, I remember like just thinking that third one, just like it. I was legitimately confused because obviously I was too young to recognize stuff like that. Like, oh, they changed production, they changed the puppeteers and stuff like that. But like
And even like the looks of the turtles changed every
yeah,
movie. Like they just, of course, because of toy sales and all that stuff, they just have to look different. So it's not the same toy that comes out, just with something different on it.
yeah.
So that was one of the
toy
things.
sales. So we're speaking to this idea of different turtles. Like just to run through the list, there was the original comic book run, which anyone knows was a black and white comic. They all had the same. Well, it was black and white, so you couldn't tell. But generally, the idea was that they all had the same color scheme. It was the red bandanas.
Yeah, they were all Bloods back in the day.
Yeah.
That I'm actually glad you brought that up. Again, I learned stuff on this show, and I remember seeing somewhere as I was like, looking at images and stuff like that. I was like, "That's weird."
Yeah.
these
And-
turtles all have red red masks.
And honestly, like going back and reading that original first comic book, which I'm holding right here, sometimes it's like unless they're holding their weapons, it's a little hard to recognize who's speaking or whatever, but not always. Like they did a pretty good job of like differentiating between the characters. But then it's like, yeah, you had the original comic book, then you had, which was Mirage Comics, I think, and then you had the cartoon, then you had the live action, you had like the Archie's comics, and then as soon as the live action, well, first off, the original cartoon ran for like 10 seasons.
Oh.
So it was
Speaking
not,
of their colors too, I do believe that was when they decided to give them different color headbands in the original animated series.
oh yeah, I think once the toys, like once toys were involved, you had to differentiate. Like as to what you were saying, like as soon as toys were involved, you had to differentiate. And, but then yeah, there was the cartoon, there was the live action movie. Shortly after the live action movie was a live action series, which only ran for one season, but they did Meet the Power Rangers throughout that.
Oh yeah, that was the time when all that Power Rangers,
What?
VR
Yeah.
Troopers, Big Bad Beetleborgs.
Yeah.
Man, what was another one? What was it? Superhuman Samurai, Cyber Squad, something like that.
Yeah,
That was the time. baby.
Beetleborgs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was the time.
but that live action series introduced the first female Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Venus de Milo.
What?
Yeah, she had a light blue color.
It's immediately gangbanged to death by 4 horny teenagers.
Yeah, exactly. They're like, are you? I mean, like first thing established. Like, are you actually related?
What the
Actually
hell?
related?
Wow.
Yeah. And as we learned from our intro, like
Fucking Christ.
turtle dicks hit their chin.
I'm looking at a timeline right now. I was very surprised to see the year spread between the 3 movies,
It was relatively quick, right?
to say the least. Ninja Turtles came out in 90, and then The Secret of the Ooze came out in 91. Like
Yeah.
the turnaround on that is crazy.
And the third one was like 93.
93.
Yeah,
Like,
it's insane.
yeah.
Like, and that whole time period, like, it was turtle shit everywhere. It was everywhere. Everything was turtle stuff, and like the toys. So here's my thing. This is the one thing I really want to say about the Ninja Turtles is they are, in like every form of media, every form of nerd shit, and they're very good at it. Like you think about like a good live action nerd movie, Ninja Turtles. A good nerdy cartoon, Ninja Turtles. A good nerdy video game, Ninja Turtles. They've had a couple, like the original NES, hard as shit, but a really good old retro NES. Good arcade,
Yep.
Ninja Turtles.
I remember the arcade.
Toys, the Ninja Turtle toys are probably the top notch to me. Like G.I. Joe's are like second, but Ninja Turtle toys are like amazing.
I think I remember one where like you push the back of a shell and I think one of the weapons would spin.
Oh, that's cute.
That's all I remember.
Yeah.
That Kung Fu grip.
Oh, yeah. The only thing like board games, I think they've had a couple good board games and like I haven't played them, so I can't comment on them. But it's like Ninja Turtles are like just they're so good and like from the get go, from the very beginning, like that was the thing, Ninja Turtles. Like
I'm looking at this timeline. By the way, Jermaine is right. They did switch on the 3rd movie from Jim Henson's Creature Shop to a company called All Effects Company.
fuck all
And
effects.
yes, fuck All Effects.
Yeah.
No, they need
Directly
to
in the
get
ghost
all
house.
their effects right.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's what they need to do.
That's crazy. That's such like a study in just like who you hire. And again, there's no reason. I mean, other than unless Jim Henson was just busy with something else. But it's like, why would you not continue?
I don't remember when he passed though, so I don't know if that
Yeah, he might have been busy dying.
has something to do with it.
Definitely wasn't busy living.
But Ninja Turtles.
I pulled up a picture of Venus de Milo, and it's disturbing. It's this one particular
Little
picture.
turtle
it's just- yeah. Why do you need boobs?
Because you have to establish that she's a woman. Just like, what was her name?
Hey, you know, her and Ariel wear the same seashells. Anyhow, yeah, look at that one. Is that, what the fuck? What's up
Do you
with
guys
his mask?
know the name of the second female Ninja Turtle that they introduced?
I didn't know there was a first one.
No.
Jenica.
What the hell?
Yellow
yellow?
bandana.
The
Yeah,
yellow?
yellow.
Yeah.
She more wrecked?
She was a former
Bigger
foot
boobs?
soldier that was dying, and I think Leo saved her life with like a mutant blood transfusion.
He saved her. Did he throw that Riz at her after?
Yeah, probably. Like, hey, I saved you, Jenica.
It's
So
a
that's
hot
the thing.
beef transfusion.
So going through all the turtle stories, I'm like hijacking this episode. I mean, like after the 10 years of the original cartoon, it wasn't long after that we got a second cartoon, which was the 2002, which I didn't watch because 2002 I was like 20 and like I don't know, done with
I
cartoons.
watched it. I wasn't. Go ahead,
Oh,
continue.
I watched the first episode today, and like that style, amazing. It reminded me a lot of a Batman animated series.
A lot of people,
Very dark, like it was.
a lot
so
of fans
good.
think that that's one of or the best of the animated turtle
Yeah.
stuff.
So that's the thing. The fact that most of this is animated or it's live action, but most of the iterations of the Ninja Turtles is animated. I would say that they all stand up for what they are. And I think something that I brought up before in this podcast is the idea that what you grew up with becomes your turtles. So I think that's one of those things that's going to make the whole turtle conversation hard, maybe especially cross-generational, is whichever one you grew up with is certainly going to be your turtles. But at the end of the day, they've all done a really good job of like capturing what the turtles are. They've changed things over time. They've evolved. I mean, it's been 40 years.
Do you guys know the inspiration of the turtles? Behind the inspiration of the turtles?
Let's hear it.
So the creators, but they got the inspiration from Daredevil. So in the series Daredevil, Matt Murdock and Elektra were trained by a master by the name of Stick. So therefore, Stick is the inspiration of Splinter, Master Splinter. And in the Daredevil series, Daredevil deals with a ninja clan by the name of the Hand. And therefore, in Ninja Turtles, you have the Foot Clan. And then also, it's linked, but I'm not 100% sure if it's really canon, but I doubt it, but I could be wrong. But the thing that blinded Matt Murdock, this ooze type thing, they say that was the thing that fell into the sewers, and that's what changed the turtles into, you know, these humanoid turtles. It was that same thing that blinded Matt Murdock, fell into the sewers.
Have they had a
And that's where we
crossover?
I don't know if there was a crossover ever with Daredevil, but
There was a Batman crossover with them, wasn't there?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot
in the
of
comics
crossovers
and
to
the
talk
animated,
about.
That animated movie was pretty good.
top notch. That I never in my life thought I would ever see Shredder fight Batman, and I saw it, and I loved it.
I've seen a clip of that. That's badass. That was
Everything,
intense.
and I think I could be wrong, but some of those fight scenes look like they were rotoscope.
Oh,
So where they, you know, like animate over like an actual legit live action fight
Reference,
scene
yeah.
that they borrowed from somewhere, and then they, you know, just put it into the film. But it was like a lot of interesting things that they did in the beginning, like the whole pizza thing came from those guys used to eat pizza when they would work on the thing, you know, work on creating Ninja Turtles. So they put that in there too, like to say that was one of their favorite foods.
Question. For those of us that grew up with the cartoon, fuck off, Isaac. Did you
All
guys,
the way.
did
Lot
you
of
guys
hate today.
ever try the ice cream on pizza? The ice cream pizza? Because that was something from the cartoon.
No, I never tried it.
Oh, I did.
I'm saying.
I liked it.
thanks for that interjection.
Fuck off. It's a big important part of the cartoon. They had like They had all sorts of pizza,
a
and
lethal
one of them was
interjection.
like
It's
pizza
really
with ice
integral in
cream.
the story. Really moved it along, and like Donatello learned a lesson from.
Fuck right off. Yeah. Yeah. Thanks, Rudy. Then I had to waste my energy on that one.
Anyway, before we stray off into the nethers of
Pizza.
turtles and pizza,
Do they have nethers? Or is it like a cloaca?
I'm assuming like it's
They hit their chin.
cloaca. I always love that word. Favorite turtles? Go.
Who's
your favorite?
Joe Manganiello. Limoncello. Fuck.
Raphael. I just that.
I already
Yeah.
know your answer, but
Oh, mine's the party dude. Mine's Michelangelo
Yeah,
because he has my
Michelangelo.
personality.
Isaac.
Damn it, he stole mine. I was gonna say Michelangelo, but I'm more, on the nerdy side like Donnie.
Mine is Leonardo, of course.
Oh, well, fucking perfect. Let's
Really?
get our colors, motherfuckers.
I figured for
How
Raphael.
perfect.
No, I fucking love Leonardo since I first laid out on his shell.
Yeah, he wants to suck his Leonardo.
So
To the
there is
root.
this thing.
To the root.
Speaking of favorite turtles
the wax his shell.
Katana.
and turtles, who do you guys think is the most skilled turtle?
Oh, hold up. Hold
I got this one.
on. I already know my answer.
Wanna finish your food there?
Hold on. I want you guys all to answer this.
Full Nardo mouth.
I want you all to answer this, but add on to that, who would win in the fight between Leonardo and Raphael? Go.
Ooh, Leonardo.
So who's more technically proficient?
Leonardo.
Okay. Doug?
Raphael's one, he's got that rage. Two, if you look at different iterations, like we were just watching the rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Raphael's like twice the size of Leonardo.
And do you
Jermaine,
guys remember the?
size,
Hold on,
baby.
hold on. Do you guys remember the fight in the 2007?
You get it on the mic?
Yes!
Was it the 2007? So
Wait,
That-
the 2007 TMNT movie?
animated
Yeah.
animated movie. So that fight scene to this day still holds up because Raph and Leo are fighting in the rain, like they're legit going at it, and it's one of the best fight scenes with the turtles. But there's been an argument since the history of the turtles, like who could beat who, because Raph and Leo always bumped heads, like they always
Well,
went at it.
Infighting in general between all of them has always been a thing. Like
Yes.
from brotherly giving each other shit to straight on fighting.
But it's but the general like two that always go at it, like in the movie, in the original movie, when Raph and Leo always go at it, Mikey and Donnie are like pork rinds. Pork rinds. Like they always like venture off. Like they're always,
Fight,
going in
kitchen.
their own direction, because they know this is gonna take a while because it's these two. So those are the ones. But that particular animated movie sparked it to another high degree, because there's a scene in there. Well, there's two scenes. There's the moment at the end of the battle where Raph literally has Leo and he could end him right then and there. But you see in the middle of the battle when they're fighting and Leo has his sword, like there's a move where he was like, you could have got was it his head? Like damn near, he could have chopped his head like clean off.
I love that.
Rudy's
I
championing
love
the
it.
bit here.
I love that fucking scene, because in this movie, Raphael goes off on his own and does like his own vigilante thing, dressed up as
I love Vigilante
as,
Raph.
as someone else in disguise. So Leonardo actually finds him one night and confronts him because he thinks he's someone else. He's like, hey, your methods are kind of brutal. Like that's not how heroes work. And Raphael stops because he has him cornered. So they fight, and Leonardo's taking him apart like he's whooping his ass, and he's doing it with ease, with style.
Shell shot.
And then he unmasks Raphael, and he finds out it's his brother. And then they have the little tete-a-tete, and then they settle down. Okay, we're gonna fight again. And in this one, it's more even. And then finally, Raphael gets the upper hand and overpowers Leonardo. And to me, in my mind, it's always been Leonardo, with no connection, will whoop the shit out of anybody, everybody, all takers. But once it mentally, it's his brother. Like, he can't bring himself to go all out. Like, there's a part of him that's always like, that's my brother. Like, I can't whoop his ass.
I can't
like
dead
that.
this fool.
Yes, I can't.
I can't unalive.
I can't be lethal against him because that's my brother. Like, it's always like, to me, it showed like that block that no, this is family, and I can't do that to family. And it shows Raphael lose his temper to such a degree that he would almost take it to that point.
Or do you think Raph was holding back at first? Because Raph obviously knew it was Leo.
Again, that
See,
it's still that
I don't-
you know that
I don't know
juxtaposition of them knowing who the other one is, but Raph already showed that he was willing to take it to that point, and I don't think his ego and his rage would have let him like hold himself back, because he didn't when the fight was real. Like, he didn't hold back. Like, he almost took it to that lethal point.
Yeah, he went
Yeah.
there. So I don't think that would have made a difference because, like he stated, Leo was giving it to him, like giving him the business. So it was just one of those things. I just think, like he said, like Leo didn't want to go there fully. But like I said, when you see the fight, there's moments. The second part of the fight, there's moments when Leo could have ended Raph, but he didn't. And then I think Raph and Leo had their weapons intertwined, and like Raph, like his rage, hit, and he broke Leo's sword, and it was just one of those things where that Wolverine like rage like took him over. Like, he wanted to, but I still think they both can't do it. It's almost like Darth Vader and Obi-Wan. Even though they're at that point where they can, damn near kill one another, I don't think either of them really wants to do it. And that's the tragedy of their story.
Yeah. Oh, Vader's and Obi-Wan.
Yeah. But I feel like it's just that with Raph. I will say, even though I'm a Mikey fan, I do think Leo is the best skilled and discipline-wise.
Yeah, Leo didn't miss a training session.
Well, that's the whole thing of like him being not necessarily just a natural born leader, but like to have someone like Splinter, who is a master, and then he bestows the team upon Leo, and not only that, but Leo being the only one to actually have a lethal weapon, and it takes so much control to not unalive the enemies.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons why when they switched for the cartoon, they introduced the foot as like androids or like robots.
So they can actually use the weapons.
Yeah,
But
so katanas can actually.
it's
be
also one of
used.
these new age. I saw some guys, somewhere on social media saying, the reason why Splinter gave each turtle gave them their specific weapon was like Leo. He gave him his dual swords because a leader necessary, he has to be sharp, but he also has to, besides
Oh, so clever!
Sorry.
you guys every time. So Leo has his weapon because he has to. It also allows him to block, but it's also one of those things like where he has to make that choice, like where he has the discipline enough to kill or not kill. So that's him. Raph has the size.
Versus a little blunt side slap versus the slicey slice.
Slice, cut, whatever it may be, cut, stab. But Raph has his defensive side,
Right.
because he has to control his rage. And then with Donnie, the most advanced turtle, they give him a staff, And for Michelangelo, because they say that his mind is everywhere, he has a hard time focusing. So they give him one of the hardest weapons where you have to focus, while you're using it. So that's
I like it.
a explanation that they say why the turtles have their particular weapon.
I like that. I think it makes sense. I'm curious if like Eastman and Laird's thought about that back in the day.
Yeah, that's one of the things that if I did ever see him, because who's still alive? Is it
Eastman still shows up.
Eastman's
yeah.
still alive, yeah.
You see him at the conventions all the time.
But going back to that Leo Raph dynamic, what like four iterations in, one of Nickelodeon's last Ninja Turtles was the Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon, and that series started with Raphael actually as the leader, and that series was probably the most different from any of the ones before. Like they ended up with like mystic powers, which makes sense for that time period. Like superpowers was a thing, so it's like, all right, we're gonna have a Ninja Turtle team. They're gonna have superpowers. But they started with Raph as being the leader, which was certainly something new. And then I think eventually, as the series moved on, like Leo took over as the leader, which is cool to see. Like especially like in a kids, essentially a kid show, which I guess that's like the preface.
Yeah.
Preface.
So
Sorry, that's the preface to all of this. Is it's all kids shows. It's all kid stuff. No matter how much we want to say it's like an adult thing, it's all kid stuff, and I think that's important to remember.
the new IDW though.
Yeah,
That's
so the IDW comics
that's the next level.
is certainly worth mentioning. So these comics, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics, have been under Mirage. They did like an Archie's comics. Image had them for a little while, but ultimately, when Nickelodeon bought them, they teamed up with IDW, and IDW has been doing this long-running, uninterrupted series of comic books that, like, I can't say I've been like reading from the beginning to the end, but I've read bits and pieces, and it's so good, and it is not a kid series.
There's like a lot of things like Splinter became like the leader of the Foot Clan, like Leo
worked with Shredder for a little bit.
Yeah, Leo worked with Shredder.
His
like
costume was top notch.
It's a money series. Like if you ever if you don't read comics, I want to say they have people discussing it on YouTube, so you can probably like just listen to some of the stories, but it's definitely one of those comics that I think like if you are a Turtle fan, like I think you should be reading it.
And they don't go too crazy with like spin-offs and stuff like that. So if you're a Turtle fan, I think you can get away with just the one comic a month. Like there's gonna be a new IDW Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles every month. You get it, you read it. I think they've done a few one-offs. They've done a few, like Jenica, the female superhero that I brought up earlier. I think they've done like a few things with her, but for the most part, it's a once a month series. And so like if you're a Turtle fan, like try to catch up and then get in on it, or you could probably just jump in on it, and it's worth watching.
So to my question of who do you guys think is the most skilled turtle? Leo. We're across the board.
Skilled?
I say Leo.
Skilled would probably be Leo.
Like if you look at the turtles now, I say Leo, but I'm asking you guys this because I'm going to get into something else after this. Oh, okay. So who do you guys think?
I say Leo. I mean, just based off of the battles between Raph and Leo. Obviously, it's to be a leader, to be skilled, to be good, is you have to have a balance of skill and emotion, which Raph doesn't have, notoriously, but Leo does.
Yeah,
Leo.
Yeah, skilled wise, I would say Leo.
So
hold on before you start. There is, I think it's one of the intros. I think it's from the first cartoon where they show Michelangelo and he's wielding his nunchucks and he's like flipping like ninja stars and like grenades like out of the air as he's as he's doing it. Like that shit was cool, and like that kind of sparks my like Michelangelo's kind of a low key badass.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh no, he is. He's the one.
Yeah.
Anyway, continue.
If Mikey would stop being the party dude for like a second.
Exactly.
Which we touched on the last Ronin.
Yeah.
If we're going to
but
absolutely need to get into that.
That gets to my point because if you guys remember the original movie, when all the turtles had to to leave New York, and they had to go train because Raph got beat up on the roof, and they had to escape, and they all went to go train, and they all went kind of like their separate ways, like doing their own thing. Like Leo was just watching over Raph when he was in the tub. Donnie had Casey Jones in the garage. They were messing with the car.
Casey Jones.
And, so it was like every turtle was grieving in their own way, but they were all training. They were all doing something. There was a particular scene that I wish to this day to God that they left it in there, because everybody was doing their thing. They didn't show anything about Michelangelo, and they had this footage. I want to say it's on YouTube, but Michelangelo's training by himself with a punching bag, like beating the shit out of that punching bag. And I'm like, that kind of makes sense to me, but I know why they took it out, because Mikey's the funny one. He's the, but I think with Michelangelo being who he is, like, yes, he's funny, but like all the turtles, I know he cares about his brothers and all that stuff, but I feel like he's that dude that's like, if he really put his mind to it, like he could be that guy, all there is.
Well, I can relate to Mikey in that way of like always being like the jokester, and you use jokes to mask
to hide the pain,
the darker thoughts.
Oh yeah. So the second thing with this movie, but I'm gonna use that to jump into something else. The scene where Raphael's on the roof, and he screams out, Splinter, that was edited. That was actually Michelangelo on that roof. That was not Raphael. They changed the voice. Like if you look at it closely, like you see the nunchucks, and it's not really Raphael. So it was edited. And like I said, I just feel like they took Michelangelo's aspect. Like when you look at all the turtle movies, everybody has their story in each. Leo was like this first one, like just him grieving through all that stuff. Donnie was the second one, like he really wanted to know where he was from, and like what created them, and like why are they here, why are the purpose. And I forgot the third one, but it was kind of like about Raph and him, I think dealing with his rage, but we never got that Michelangelo story. Never got that. So push that all aside. With him, like I said, training by himself and punching that punching bag in the Nickelodeon 3D TMNT cartoon, there's a scene where they're fighting Shredder on the roof, and I remember this scene like vividly. All the turtles are fighting Shredder, and it's like everybody's getting their butt kicked, like they're getting like pushed into these neon signs, they're getting flung. And Mikey goes in there, and he does the same thing. Like he gets his butt handed to him, but as he spins out, before he falls off the roof, like he throws a ninja star. Like nobody did anything. And I was like, that's my boy Mikey right there. He's like, I'm gonna get you no matter what. So when they announced The Last Ronin, everybody was trying to figure out who The Last Ronin is, and in my head immediately, I was like, it has to be Michelangelo. Like there's no other turtle that this Ronin can be.
Have they revealed it?
Yeah, it was Mikey.
Yeah, there was Mikey.
Ooh,
But
so he's got his redemption.
We had this discussion when they announced The Last Ronin, and they didn't really. I want to say it wasn't even the first issue. Oh, maybe it was the very end of the first issue where they revealed that it was Mikey. But we had the discussion, and it was very hard. Like we were, like who's it going to be? And it was like Leo's the obvious. But then like people were talking about Mikey, but to me, Mikey was almost the obvious because it was obvious in the fact that like he hadn't had that story. Like it was that weird paradox of like he deserved it, which made it obvious, which made me think like it shouldn't be him because it was too obvious because he deserved it. But now having read that series, I'm glad that it is Mikey.
I just thought that it had to be him because saying that, I know every turtle would give their life for each other, but I know Leo would probably like give his life immediately.
Yeah,
you know?
Leo's going to be the first to
Like
go, right?
yeah, and then Raph, in the rage of Leo dying, he would probably do something, you know, rage wise to try to do something like for his fallen brother, but also try to protect his other two. But that rage would probably take over, and he would probably, you know, go out there and go ham. And I think Donnie would probably, you know, try to figure something out, you know, in the midst of all this, you know, like, you guys got to go, you know, get out of here while I handle this. And I feel like Mikey would do the same, but I just always felt like if it was going to be a Last Turtle, and I've always wanted them to make something like this, because in any comic story, I always want to see how Batman dies or how Superman, like the end, like
Yeah, what's the world 10 years from now, 20 years from now,
like
or something like that?
What's the end for all these characters, and like keep, you know, the story going. You can still make, you know, Batman stories, but I just want to know, you know, specifically how certain superheroes, you know, story end. But for me, I've always used to fantasize about this particular group because they're four brothers and they're so close, and that's all they have. And I've seen, you know, artists do, you know, drawings of, you know, like the turtles, you know, by themselves, you know, like each one of them has like their bandana, you know, or something like that. And it was just one of those things, like, how would the Last Turtle like legit handle himself, like if it was just him, and that's all he had left? And it was just one of those stories that I always used to think about. And with The Last Ronin, so good.
Yeah.
So good.
And I'm so happy that they're continuing it with the Lost Years, and I think they've announced The Last Ronin 2. And going back to what I was talking about earlier, where like everything like that involves turtles is really good. They're finally delving into the AAA video game world with the Last Ronin story. I think I heard like comparisons to like the God of War. So like that kind of third person view action story with the Last Ronin. And like that whole world that they set up with like this futuristic New York, I'm very excited for it.
I am kind of disappointed at Nickelodeon because they chose to do a video game rather than like a movie or even like animated movie. Like they had the choice and they went with the video game
Yeah,
instead.
because
And I was
video
like,
games are fucking awesome. They can tell a great story.
Oh no, video
and
games are
They can be like 20 hours long.
but-
Fuck off.
Apparently, Doug won't play it unless it depresses the shit out of him.
Yeah, I play depressing games. I mean, it's going to be depressing. He's going to be like talking to his dead brothers.
No,
Do you
Ninja
feel
Turtles
that
animated.
that Ronin storyline, that they should bring it to the big screen, either in an animated or live action format, or do you think the world's not ready for it?
I think it's almost inevitable that they're going to bring it to
they should.
to animation, at least.
Yeah, they're gonna with
Do you think it's its own thing though, or like a sequel to, you know, the Mutant Mayhem?
No, it'll be
Oh,
its
no, it would
own
have to
thing.
be its own thing. Like,
Yeah.
no, it wouldn't exist in that world.
I
Like, it's
think-
just one of those things. Like, I do remember them having that animated movie where all the turtles from every iteration, but you know they were within their own
It wasn't
universe.
every iteration, but it was like three or four. of them.
Yeah, like they all met
Yeah,
there,
they did a multiverse before multiverse was a thing.
but they had multiverse in there with the what's the rabbit's name?
Usagi Yojimbo?
Yojimbo, yeah, like that. From the time I was younger, I always thought that he came from the Ninja Turtles comics.
Yeah, me too.
But he didn't. I was so wrong.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, one thing that Ninja Turtles have done so well, like, going back to what I was saying earlier, like, when they became big, it was just like they were everywhere. And they've done a lot of crossovers. Most recently, they announced they're going to be part of Street Fighter 6 as a purchasable skin. And I think there's some drama because they're expensive.
It's
And
like
then,
$15.
yeah. And then there's a skateboard game called like Sessions, which I don't even know if I've heard of, but apparently you can buy some Ninja Turtle skins and be part of Sessions. You can skateboard around. But most importantly, back in, I think it was 1994, they did a crossover with Star Trek. and they released 4
Son of a bitch.
Please direct your eyes to
Son
the
of a
screen.
bitch. You did it.
Gotcha.
Fuck yeah,
Put your shit back on. It's Star Trek time, baby.
Star Trek time, baby.
If this is the first episode of the Hype Attack podcast that you're listening to because the TMNT came out and you're wondering what the hell the whole hubbub is, this son of a bitch has been trying to connect every fucking topic
6
to
degrees
my
of Star Trek.
Excuse me, to my chagrin, to Star Trek.
Yeah.
And god damn it, he did it yet again. I'm
Literally,
actually
last
impressed.
episode, Jermaine challenged me to connect every episode, and I was just like, "Oh, next week we're talking about Star Trek, or we're talking about Ninja Turtles." I already fucking got it.
Beam up and collect all the classic Cowabunga characters.
Yeah, cowabunga.
Jesus, hell.
I do have a complaint.
That was masterful.
Why
the
isn't
hell?
Why isn't Raphael a red shirt?
Because he ain't gonna die first.
Why is it Mikey?
Michael will die first.
Answer the question.
But yeah, beyond. I mean,
It's Chief
beyond
Engineer
crossovers,
Michelangelo.
Like, I mean, or I guess extending on crossovers. I mean, like even board games like Zombicide, which is a great board game that they've done all sorts of like iterations of. But there are Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle character choices that you can make for Zombicide. What else? I feel like Ninja Turtles is just one of those characters. It's like, oh, you got a game with character choices. Like, we can throw in some turtles. Like their marketing department, or just like the way they can just bring them into anything, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty impressive.
Am I wrong? Were the Ninja Turtles in one of the Mortal Kombat games, or
Yes, they were.
they were in one of the
I believe
Mortal
they were
Kombat?
in the Injustice.
Oh, were they?
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's
what it was. I
awesome.
think it was
Because back
Injustice.
in Super Nintendo days, they had their own fighting game,
Yeah, the
which I
Tournament Fighters?
love. Yeah, Tournament Fighters. That was a really good.
I need them to bring that back.
Not to
Absolutely.
not to have us go down like on a completely different tangent, but in a little quick
Clay Fighters, you remember that?
idea.
Oh, fuck yeah.
How do you feel about video games, like fighting games, having and then now Ultraman and now the Ninja Turtles, you can play as them?
I love it.
I do like it, but I blame Fortnite for all this. But
If it's a franchise, like, I mean, to me, Ninja Turtles, as to what we were saying, like the Super Nintendo game was a great example. Like, they could work on their own. So I feel like something like the Ninja Turtles could make their own game, similar to Mortal Kombat. Originally, like when DC got into the fighting game thing, it was like Mortal Kombat versus DC, and that was like an okay game. And then eventually they did Injustice, which was an amazing game. But these little one-off characters are like part of a smaller franchise. Like, I don't know, it's fun.
Because what I'm imagining it is like in like Mortal Kombat, there's a storyline, right? And I'm just imagining it in played out as a movie where you have all your main like MK characters, and then all of a sudden. Then you have the
Omni-Man
Turtles,
or-
Omni-Man and the Turtles like competing.
that's the off camera, off scene tournament fight, right? Like, because the campaign doesn't include those characters. It's just in the fight. I mean, and it's just fun to be able to see, like, I mean, like, I'm looking forward to this new Mortal Kombat 1 coming out, like Omni-Man versus Homelander, right? Like, that's the
the nerdy part of me fucking loves it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Being able to have like these characters that weren't originally part of the whole franchise, things that are like recently coming out and like are blowing up big. But as far as like a storyline, like I'm again imagining it in like a movie format, and then Homelander pops up.
because I do like with Mortal
Hilarious.
Kombat when
getting a handy from a quadriplegic burn victim,
And there it is.
burn Nazi victim.
Oh fuck, that's right.
Right? That's what happens, right? I'm not even
yeah.
trying to be funny. Like,
Yeah.
literally describing what happened in the movie.
Spoiler of the
That
second season.
Yeah. Fuck them. What were you going to say,
Fuck him,
Jermaine?
but like fuck him.
Yeah, fuck them, but fuck them.
Not but fuck him.
Not fuck
Fuck him.
not fuck.
But fuck him.
No. Yeah.
But fuck 'em.
Yes. Yeah. But fuck them.
comma placement is key.
You could always make them airtight.
Chief Medical Officer Raphael. Damn it, Leo.
The most healing of the turtles.
Yeah.
It's his
Damn it,
bedside
Leo.
manner I enjoy the most.
Chief engineer. So it would be Michelangelo being told to beam up.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Bring
like
me up,
fixing,
Mikey.
Or I just can't do it.
fixing the warp core and the dilithium crystals.
Maybe up, Mikey. The sewer smells.
He would fuck it up because he'd probably drop a pizza slice in there or something.
Oh yeah, he'd be like,
And then they'll be lost in space forever.
Was that just like an isolated
yeah, it was just a
mashup, or wasn't like
it
the
was just a toy
storyline?
line. I don't.
Yeah, it was just like, during that time where they had like they were coming out with baseball Ninja Turtles. They were coming out with like
Oh, okay.
Halloween themed,
Oh.
like Ninja Turtles.
But if we are going to talk about Ninja Turtle crossovers, they did a Batman crossover that both in comic book form and animated movie form was fucking
have to
amazing.
watch that.
And
Yeah, on that note,
bye,
wrap
everybody.
this thing up.
Cowabunga, suck off.
Cowabunga suck off.
And on that note, I suppose that's going to be
Cowabunga says it all.
the place where we end it. So,
We will be signing off from our traditional same high time, same high channel. It'll be Cowabunga suck off.
you know where to find us.
Put them on it, Isaac.
Spotify, whatever.
Fucking do it.
Oh my god, we have moms listening to us.
Yeah,
I try to keep it clean this episode.
Oh no.
Check us out on Instagram. Check us out on TikTok at The Hype Attack. Check out my little film corner thing, Forehead Films, FOREHED Films on Instagram only. Doug?
self-plugging motherfucker.
yeah.
I look forward to being on that, by the way.
Yeah, I hope we can all be on that and review some movies that we've watched and enjoyed.
You should watch a Star Trek movie with them.
Maybe.
Oh, you want
Yeah,
some Star
I
Trek?
really am going to have a segment called What? You've not seen that?
Yeah, Star Trek 4.
Maybe.
Star Trek 2.
Maybe we'll get to watch
Anyway.
movies together.
Yeah. Anyway, keep the conversation going. Let us know how you love the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and stuff.
Comment your favorite turtle. What did you
Yeah,
think about
yeah.
the movie?
Oh, that's an
Also,
easy
comment
one.
one of what's your favorite Ninja Turtle comic book? What's your favorite animated Ninja Turtle? Do you like the new Nickelodeon stuff?
Yeah, there's been like 12 different versions of the Ninja Turtles. And I think it's great. It works, right? The
Turtle power.
Turtle power. Yeah, turtle power.
You heard it here, folks. Turtle Power.
Yeah.
Oh, and again, we drop all of our episodes on Fridays, so check out this episode on Friday.
Midnight.
You're listening to it now. It is Friday.
Next
Happy Friday!
Friday.
Grab some pizza.
Oh, pizza.
Friday after next.
Pizza time.
Okay, we're getting fucking pizza after this. You'll be asleep though.
I know.
Ice cream pizza.
So like, rate, and review.
Same pizza time?
This is one of the harder sign-offs we've had.
This is one of the hardest.
20 minutes
when you listen to that intro?
Same Hype channel? How'd you guys nerd out?
I have never started an intro
used to
and
have to check that, too.
and it bounced around everywhere.
Well, guys,
oh my
until next Friday, same hype time,
Same hype channel.
Cowabunga struck up.
Cowabunga suck off!
Oh my goodness.
What the hell?